Hi Marco, how are you?
Mike's alive?
Fucking hell.
Every time, right?
Every time.
Yeah. Mike's alive means they're live.
All right.
I have to ask me again.
Okay.
All right. So what episode are we up to, Mitch?
112.
112.
Yeah, just
112 episodes.
casually.
So we've got an international superstar on who's just been sharing heaps of stories just before we went live. So cool.
I wouldn't
so
say
amazing.
superstar. Definitely international. Definitely international. I can.
Well, in my eyes, like what the stories you've just told me is so awesome.
We can start with international and we'll go from there.
Yeah, we'll go from there. Yeah?
First of all, before we get into anything like that, like you guys want to be super proud of what you've achieved here.
Oh, thank you.
112 episodes.
Yeah.
With hardly only a few guests returning for twice or maybe even 3 times.
It'd be less than 6 or 7.
The celebration of Perth's dance music scene. You guys want to be absolutely thrilled with what you've accomplished.
Cheers for that.
And yeah, every credit, boys. Cheers. Cheers. And it's an absolute pleasure and an honor to be sat in the chair.
It's a pleasure and an honor to have you here, John.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Without you, we wouldn't have an episode.
Well, 112. Let's own it. Yeah, man.
So you're Jon Ee then?
I am Jon Ee. Yeah, that is correct.
So it's not Jon Ee?
No, it's just pronounced Jon Ee. Yeah. So the name came from the early days, back in the olden times.
Times.
Yeah. So as I was just saying to you, so I'm 42 years old. I'll wear that all day long. Yeah, I'm old.
Marco says amen to that.
Yeah. Amen, brother. And I'd started DJing in the mid to late 90s.
The golden era.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
See, you say that, but I always wish I could have experienced the mid to late 80s, like the whole Summer of Love thing when, you know.
Well, that's what would have got you into it, right?
Yeah, well.
And that's when rock was really popping off as well.
Yeah, so.
Especially like Britpop.
Yeah, but, you know, I look back and you look at those documentaries like the Criminal Justice Bill and, like, all that sort of anti-rave stuff and the, you know, the acid house parties, and look how far this has come. It's just insane, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, from having politicians turn around and saying rave will never make anything and you're bad for listening to it, and now it dominates the music scene the world over.
Yep.
But anyway, we could go on about that for months, right? So, a young boy called John and his mate Chris, right? Burger, it was his nickname. We're in Birmingham in the UK.
Can you pull that up where Birmingham is?
Yeah, Birmingham, right in the middle, West Midlands, right?
Yeah.
And on August 28th, 1996.
You got it down to a date.
Yeah. We blagged our way into the biggest event happening on August Bank Holiday, which was Sunday Central's all-nighter. Right,
nicer.
Sunday Central was a massive fucking name, and they did it on a Sunday in a cheese club called Pulse, and this place was fucking huge.
And what's a cheese club? It's just cheese music, right?
As in, like Friday and Saturday they just played fucking cheese,
just pop music,
yes, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
Donna Summer. And
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, exactly. But on one Sunday of a month, they would do something fucking huge, which was called Sunday Central, and they would get a bunch of fucking big DJs in, and it was a big deal, right? And the biggest DJ in the time in Birmingham was a guy called Tony DeVitt.
Tony DeVitt.
Yeah. He was like the godfather of hard house, really.
Can you try and find him as well?
Yeah. Tony DeVitt was the man, right? And he was playing. And we got fucking tickets. We didn't know what to expect, and we fucking turned up to this nightclub, and there were people just dressed up as fucking there you go.
Was that him?
I'm sure I saw him. How have you spelt that? Tony DeVitt is how you spell it.
Just one T.
Yeah.
We'll get there, guys.
Tony DeVitt. There you go. Second picture. Tony DeVitt. Bang.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, one of Birmingham's finest DJs.
It's a Wikipedia article. Let's pull that one up.
Yeah.
There you go.
So anyway, so we went into this fucking nightclub, and at the time, to give you a bit of backstory, I was actually being trained as an actor. I was in theatre school. I'd been kicked out of one fucking theatre school for being a dick, and I'd gone into another one, and that was my thing. I was going to be a stage actor. I wasn't really interested in TV or movies or anything like that. I wanted to stand on stage and fucking do stuff like that. And we went to this nightclub, Pulse, and I saw this DJ play called Jeremy Healy. Have you ever heard of Jeremy Healy?
No.
Right.
Can you try and pull him up as well?
Yeah. So Jeremy Healy was like, he wasn't the best DJ. He wasn't, right? Like, he wasn't technically amazing. He didn't do fucking mad tricks or anything like that. But I saw the way this dude stood, and he didn't use a mic or anything like that. He just stood in this DJ box, and everyone knew he was there. Everyone knew that was the guy, right? And then he got on, and like I said, like, he wasn't brilliant, but I was just captivated. I was just like, holy shit, that's amazing. That's fucking amazing.
What was he doing? Just dancing?
Just DJing. Just DJing. Fucking stood there DJing. Like, I was amazed. And I was like, and we came out of there, and I remember turning to my mate who had been chatting up this girl, and he was like, oh, I'm going to go back to hers. You're going to have to get your own way back. And I was like, yeah, fine. That's cool. I'll fucking walk home. Right. And I said to him, I'm going to become a DJ. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to become a DJ. So, and from that point on, like, that was the moment I thought,
just solidified it, and that's what you knew what you were going to do.
Yeah, so, and Healy was always my fucking, like, guy. Now, if you ask a lot of the older DJs, like Soul, he'll know. He's probably played with him a million times.
That's Soul Bliss for anybody.
Yeah, who's on here tomorrow, tune in.
Yep.
But yeah,
Plug.
Healy was never like one of the major dudes. He was never a Sasha, a Digweed, a Carl Cox. He was never like that fucking, but he was just the guy who would play a lot of.
Was it like local fame that he had?
No, it's definitely international fame. He played a lot for did a lot of fashion parties like Gucci and fucking.
Right, so very like upper class.
Oh
like,
yeah.
It feels like a Josephine Stein.
Yeah, man. So then the big problem was, like, I went fucking back home and I spoke to my parents who had split up.
And dropped the bomb, right?
Oh yeah, and I was like, hey, look, I want to be a DJ, and like it's all happened to all of us, right? What do you want to do that for? It's not a real job.
That's it.
Go and get a real job. It's never going to pay you any money. You'll never go anywhere being a DJ. How dare you? Why are you throwing away all? And I was just like, well, this is what I want to do. I couldn't afford turntables, so I asked for turntables, because back then it was all vinyl, right? There was no such thing as a CDJ, right? It was all records, and I asked for turntables, and at the time you like. There is only still one thing. Sorry, I'm old, but if it's not a Technics turntable, it's not a turntable, right? It's like it's not.
It has to be Technics.
It has to be a 1210 or a 1200.
Yeah, look up the 1200.
Yeah, like it. Yeah,
the 1200's collectibles now, aren't they?
Yeah,
so they don't make them anymore. I don't think.
You can still buy them.
Yeah, no, they're second hand though.
So
no, I think you can buy them.
You can.
Right.
They've done a re-release of of like Mark 7s now.
Really
can you pull that up? That sounds awesome though.
Right? Yeah, they're fucking not cheap.
Yeah, that's
not cheap. But anyway, I've got a really cool story about my decks as well.
Yeah.
So, couldn't afford turntables. So what I did is I managed to get a load of records together. My dad at the time was an area manager for a pub company. So
lucky.
Yeah, right. And all of a sudden, like, I was doing like glassy work, just, I was 16, 17, just doing glassy work. And I was working in an Irish theme bar, and a guy called Reg Chandler, massive shouts to Reg Chandler. Without him, none of this would have happened. And the first thing he did when he took over the bar is he built a DJ box.
Oh, and you were just like, my time to shine.
Turntables in there. So that's when I started, like, basically learning the craft, right? Learning what is this, and like all that sort of stuff. And then, like, a gig fell in my hands because I wasn't charging any money. It was just for a couple of beers. Then Reg and I fell out. And I had nothing, like no gigs or anything. So what I did is, with the only records that I had, because I couldn't afford turntables, but I could still afford records at the time, is I went round literally every bar in Birmingham. And I wouldn't advise you do this nowadays, guys. If you're listening out there, this is probably a bad idea. But back in the day, it worked. And I literally just walked into a bar and said, hey, look, I'm a DJ. I'm an up and coming. Gave him a bit of a spiel and said, let me play. Look, if I'm shit after an hour, just close me down and send me on my way. If I'm not, buy me a beer.
Was it all free as well?
Yeah, 100%. And they were just like, decks are there, mate.
Well, that's a good way to get your foot in the door.
But
you prove yourself, you show them, and then...
All I wanted was practice, right? Because I knew none of my mates had turntables. None of my mates were into this, right? It was like, I didn't know any other way of getting on the decks. And I was probably shocking, like fucking shocking, right? They were probably like, oh, wow. And I did get shown the door many times, but eventually just kept, pushing and pushing and pushing. And then a flamboyant gentleman by the name of Billy hit me up and said, hey, look, I run a pre-club bar called Genesis. And I was like, I know Genesis, yeah. And he's like, I'm looking for a DJ to do like the worst shift. It'll be great practice for you. I'm going to pay you peanuts. I'll give you a few beers, but
worst shift, would that be like the graveyard shift? Or?
Yeah, so the venue opened, it was like 24 hours, right?
Okay.
So the shift that you wanted was 8 till 12 or 12 till 4, right? The shift you didn't want was 7 in the morning till fucking whenever. Yeah. And guess what?
That's right. What you got.
And that's when I learned to mix mix kind of, and just starting things rolling.
How was the transition from turntables to the
CDJs?
Because you were on 100s, right, to start off with, or
the first CD fucking things I ever used were like Denon fucking D3000 or D4 2400s, I think. They were like a twin thing, but that was party DJing. Yeah, there you go.
Like that?
No.
They're AV.
Right, somebody, like, if there's an old DJ watching, please tell me what the Denons were called.
Or look up 3000.
Yeah, so the 3000s, they were the third line down, right? Yeah,
the bottom.
3 in. They were, them. They were the all singing, all dancing. They were like the most amazing things ever.
What?
Yeah, they were
very old school.
Yeah, absolutely. And they were like that was like, if you had a pair of them in your pub, it was like, wow. So I mean, eventually I left Birmingham. Cutting a very long story short, I left Birmingham and ended up in Blackpool, of all places. Blackpool, which
Can
is...
you look that up as well?
Yeah,
like, what's the distance between Birmingham and Blackpool?
Yeah, 5 hours.
5 hours,
okay. And it's...
Still in England, though?
Yeah, northwest England. Blackpool is like... there we go. There's fucking Blackpool. There she is.
It's on the coast.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is. So anyone I ever take to Blackpool who haven't been there before, I always quote a Star Wars reference, was, you'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Very nice.
That's such a British thing. Like, I'm sure people from Blackpool think like people from Birmingham are cunts. So.
I don't know. They probably I don't know.
Like every
first-hand experience here.
No, they hate their own town more than anything else. The actual fact, right? There was a book written called "Shit Towns of the the UK, right? And the amount of people who complained because their town wasn't in it, they had to write Shit Towns 2 and Shit Towns 3, right?
Well, isn't it the old saying, like, British people can do two things, complain and queue up?
Yeah, like, and I'm good at both. Right, I am. Yeah, fucking brilliant. And apologise.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
But yeah, so you moved there.
So I moved into Blackpool and tried to get fucking gigs going, and nothing was happening. Like, nothing. And I was literally on the bones of my arse, and I didn't know what to do, and it was all a big fucking dream. And it was
How old were you at the time as well?
I would have been 19, 20, okay. Right?
Yep.
So, and it was all a bit fucking much. And then I walked into a record shop called Splash Records, right? And Splash Records, this studio is about the same size, maybe. Splash Records was only a small little boutique shop. And I met a DJ called Johnny Fresh. And Fresh was like, he must have seen something. I don't know. He must have seen something, and he was like, all right, you. And I kept going back there and kept buying a few records and stuff, and I never really had any money. And that's where I met Weavy as well, who's a fucking timeless soul to Perth. But he used to DJ at a nightclub called Heaven and Hell, which was two venues. One, Heaven, which was all cheese and fucking girly shit, and Hell, which was a dance venue. And it was all done like
find that?
Heaven and Hell. I don't know if you'll find Heaven and Hell.
It might not be around.
Yeah, Heaven and Hell Blackpool wasn't. Yeah, like
it sounds pretty cool. Though, like.
It was, and then all of a sudden he gave me a gig and told me to play Hard House, and this was when Hard House was on the rise. That's it. First picture, bang. Yeah, Heaven and Hell. So, oh yeah, that mental fucking nightclub, absolutely mental.
Wait, zoom in.
Yeah, it was just fucking crazy place. And anyway, played for him, and then I remember him sitting me down and going, "You've got to meet my mates." Right, and I was like, okay. And he was like, okay, look, I'm going to be absolutely straight up with you. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, you're not a DJ. You're not a DJ, not at all. He's got, you've got the potential, definitely. But your technical skills are terrible. You don't know how to put a set together, all this sort of shit. But he was like, but you can carry this off. We are going to teach you.
Oh,
right. And I was
that's
like,
what you want to hear.
And
right?
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then months turned into years, turned into fucking whatever. I ended up working at the record shop, and at one point the record shop was making no money, and I was working there for free, but all the time I got paid in like, go to the studio, mix this up, do this, do that, do this, do that, do this. You go into this gig with this DJ, like, and learn from him, and
that's pretty good though.
And it was the most incredible experience. The other thing they had going for them as well, they had a pirate radio station.
They
did, right?
See, this is what we were talking about before, and I was blown away because pirate radio is where it all began.
Yeah, so they had a pirate radio station back in the day that became a legal station, and they could never get a license for said legal station. So then they went pirate again. And
can you look up the definition of a pirate radio, just for people that don't know?
Yeah, so pirate radio is basically a completely illegal radio station. Literally, you've got a transmitter and some turntables and a mixer, and you press the go button, and all of a sudden you have a voice.
Yeah, and
not advised in Australia.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. But didn't even in England, didn't like cops would just rock up and trace where you are and be like, okay, we're seizing all the equipment stuff.
Yeah. So that happened to them. They got busted. Yeah, they fucking got busted.
Really?
Yeah,
How long were they up on the air for? Do you know?
A while. Yeah. And the cops turned around and said, hey, look, you guys are really good at this. You should fucking think about going legal. So they did. Right, and there were three of them at the time who went fucking all about it. There was Fresh, who was the boss, Mark Massey, who was the mouth, God bless him, God rest his soul, he's no longer with us, and Marky C, who was the technician, and he was the wizard fucking DJ mixers dude. I ended up living with Mark, and when I lived with Mark, he was like the like, this is how you fucking mix, this is how you fucking do it.
Yeah.
And they created a little bit of a monster. Going back to Splash Records, what happened was there was Weavy used to work there, then Weavy moved back over here to Perth. We took on another guy called DeVito, Daniel Vitalero. And then Fresh hit us one day and he was like, hey, look, right, I'm selling. I've had enough. I've had enough. I'm going to go and do other things. There's no money in this. I've had enough. I want to do other things. And we were like, fuck. Right, this is the ultimate dream job. Like,
What can you do when the money pulls out?
Like the money's gone. What do we do? So we were sat on a bench on Queen Square, right outside the shop, and I was like, "How much money you got?" And we put our money together. And it's an absolute true story. We put our money together, and we had 27 pence. 27 pence between two of us, which is nothing, right? You may as well throw it in the road, right? Within 3 months, we had £24,000 and we bought a record shop.
No shit.
I sold everything that wasn't nailed down, like literally everything. I was working 3 to 4 jobs. I was a wine waiter. I was behind a bar. I was DJing and running the shop, right? Like fucking just anything we could make money out of, we did.
Just chasing the dream.
Oh my God, by hook or by crook, and I mean by hook or by crook. And we did some fucking outlandish shit to get that money, but we got it. And even the bank manager, when we presented it to him, was like, "Are you fucking serious?" Like, and he was like, "There's so much more you could do with this money." And I was like, "No, we're going to buy a record shop. We're going to become we're going to become DJs." And then we ran the shop for 7 years, 8 years.
Wow, that's impressive though. What was it called?
Splash Records.
Oh, that was Splash
Records.
So you opened that? Yeah.
Well, we didn't open it, but we ran it. Yeah. And that, like, the best bits. It was the best job I've ever had in the world. Mondays the delivery would come in. Mondays you rolled a spliff and fucking lock the doors and listen to all the new tracks, right? And that was work. You got paid for that.
Right? That's it.
Yeah. I mean, like,
I've heard some stories. That kind of stuff.
Every record shop ever, like, we met up with other people who owned record shops, and it was like they all partied in their shops as well, right? And we fucking partied in our shop. My God,
Really?
Absolutely. Like, fucking absolutely. We had some mental parties, huge fucking parties. We even had the police over a few times, and they were like, "Right, like, we know what you're doing, and we know how you're doing it, but you, believe it or not, you're actually helping to the community because you're keeping the kids off the street. They all want to buy records from you and go and fucking and play."
That's awesome.
That they had that foresight because the police would just come and go, "Get fucked."
That's it.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, we did have like fucking people come into our shop and now Jamaican air fresheners working well. And I was like, "Oh fuck!" Right, like that. But I mean, the shop was. It was a burden, and yet the greatest thing that ever happened.
Yeah, for 8 years, this would have been amazing.
Yeah,
so many experiences and everything. Like.
Yeah, we had some big DJs walk in our shop. Anytime anyone like came playing Blackpool, I mean, Fubar who's still there, he's a huge DJ. He used to buy stuff from us. John of the Pleased Women, probably never heard of him. One of the first ever transgender DJs to make it fucking huge. He was one of our clients. Jumping Jack Frost. Yeah.
Try and find John and the Pleased Women.
John Pleased Women. Yeah.
John Pleased Women.
Yeah. And, good guy, John.
And Jack Frost as well.
Jumping Jack Frost. Yeah. Drum and bass DJ. We tried launching like
this guy here.
That's Jumping Jack Frost. Yeah, that's him. Yeah. Mickey Sims also, who was a garage legend. He used to buy off me. But yeah, I mean, we did some incredible stuff. That back then, it was hard to separate DJs. It's easy now. Like, what are your socials like? What are you putting out? Right. But back then, there was none of that. Right. So you got a group of DJs together, and it was like, what makes you different? What makes you different? What makes you different? You go down the line, and it's, I've played here, yeah, boring. I've done this, yeah. I own a record shop, which means I have the freshest tunes.
Yeah,
like, oh really? It. You're hired, right?
Yeah,
so now,
that's exactly it. Yeah.
And that did us so well, well. We got so many opportunities out of that. It was unreal.
How many records would you have in the store as well? Because
a fair few. Like, because you think you buy something and you're like, oh, this is gold. This is fucking brilliant, right? And you put it on the shelf and nobody buys it, and you're like, what? And then you put some shit out there and it's like, it flies off the shelf. And we were like, fuck.
Yeah.
So if you've ever watched a movie called Human Traffic.
That's it.
Right. So the record shop that was in Human Traffic was literally my record shop. That was literally how our day-to-day went.
Yeah. Like, I was about to say it was like the locations.
No. It was blagging with style. Somebody would come in and go, hey, man, you got any, like, fucking, Chicago house? Mate, right, like, do I? Right,
that's it,
Yeah, and we'd
just
always
try and sell it,
Yeah, we always had, like, so depending on how much stock you'd have, you'd always only have certain things on show. And then you'd get one of your mates, one of the bigger boys in, and it'd be like, mate, I really need that track. I've scratched mine or whatever. And then it was like, is there not one of them available anymore? No, I am getting a delivery in. Like, it just,
just work.
Yeah, just like hustling.
With the record store, like how much of it is people coming in requesting stuff versus
50-50. It was 50-50 back.
Would have been such an amazing time though, because now it's all Spotify and digital, but like back then it's all about the community.
Yeah, it was, and that's like that was something that we lost when we lost the record shops, the hub. Yeah. Right. You could go to the record shop and you might just come out with a couple of tunes, or you might come out with a gig, or you might be going to a gig, or you might have met someone new and now you're going to a sesh at their place.
It's like a daytime watering hole for DJs.
Yeah, 100%, right?
That's it.
However, buying tunes at 4 a.m. in your underwear, pretty good. Right.
It's the best time to buy music.
Yeah.
So just come out of a club and you're like,
what was your opening times then? Would you guys be open at 4 a.m? But people walk in their underwear?
Our opening times were dubious because we were both very young. In fact, a magazine called Mix Mag had us in it.
Oh, yeah.
They did an interview with us as the youngest record shop owners in the world.
Really?
Yeah, because I was 24 and my mate was 21.
No shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome, though.
Absolutely. And
like, it's being Mix Mag. That's amazing.
Made Mix Mag a few times.
coming around the world, played in places, paid it to Mix Mag.
Just cash, Have you played on BBC Radio 1 as well?
I have not. I've not played on Radio 1 at all. We had a shout out on Radio 1 when we closed the pirate station down.
Oh.
From Annie Nightingale.
Yeah.
So we got a shout out and she was just like, oh yeah, and apparently a group of boys in Blackpool have just closed their pirate radio station down and they're just tuned in. I don't believe that for a minute. And we were like, we actually have! Right, we were actually sat there.
From Annie as well.
Yeah,
Holy shit. That's so cool.
Yeah. But yeah, like the fucking shop was, it was like unreal. There's stuff I really can't fucking mention. Yeah. But if you imagine it, it did happen.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. I should write a fucking book on just the shop alone.
Did you guys ever like sleep in the back room or anything like that as well?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Once I woke up to the shop and there was just bodies lying in the shop and I was like, what the fuck has gone on here? Right. Really? Yeah. We also did like work experience at the time where we had like loads of young people come, and one of the schools actually rang us and was like, so everyone wants to come to the record shop because nobody wants to go and tile with fucking Jeffrey. Right. And we were like, okay. And we had like 8 kids at once. Right. Really? And like 8 kids. And I was like, right. And my missus at the time, right, we had to go and see the bank. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to tell this. Right, so we had to go and see the bank. Right, the bank manager called and it was urgent. So literally, DeVito and I, we've fucking gone to see the bank. And we've left my missus at the time with 8 kids in my record shop. We'll be back in 20 minutes. We were back in 2 hours. Shop shut, locked, no kids, no girlfriend. And I'm like,
what's going on?
Where has everyone gone?
She took them to the pub, right? She sat them in a fucking beer garden and got them smashed. And I mean smashed. They thought she was the best thing ever, obviously. And then I'm having to ring parents going, look, we're going to do...
kids smashed.
No, we said we're going to do a late night stock take. It's going to be done tonight. Right, fucking coffee, water. I was like, oh my God, we've done. Yeah, like...
feeding the ducks bread.
Yeah, like, wow, yeah. And then we couldn't get rid of them, right? Because when they all just wanted to work at the shop. And I was my God.
Yeah.
By the way, you've got some, I'm guessing, old friends that have jumped in. John McLeod, Red.
Mango! Fucking hell. Having it large, mate. Having it large always. Yeah, so Mango is an absolute fucking legend in his own underwear. Who's that? Red. Fucking hell. Red's elite. Days of the Foxhole. Yeah, mate. So Foxhole was a big party pub in Blackpool. Blackpool runs on party tunes, right? It's classic Stag and Hens, classic you're going up there for a weekend. It's absolute debauchery. Like there's everything you could possibly imagine. And the Foxhole, I got a gig at the Foxhole, and at the time, like I had to adapt and become like a party DJ. I had to, right, which is loads of mic work and everything like that. And I thought I was pretty good, you know. I was like, and then I saw Red work and was like, wow, fuck me, I need some fucking work about that. Jay Townsend, Big Sniffs himself, fucking hell.
So you the Foxhole?
But there was, the Foxhole was massive.
The Foxhole
says Hey up, pal. I still have a
Hey up.
12-inch copy of the Versus Renewed Energy that I got from your gaff. Love Splash Records.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, there you go.
That's so cool, though.
Yeah, Dan Mason. Oh my god! Right, so Dan Mason is fucking crazy. Like he's a party DJ who's fucking nuts.
Really?
Oh, nuts! Like genuinely.
You're hearing it first, Dan.
Fucking like, I've heard stories of Dan Mason going into a pub that's just been done up brand new. He's had a bit of a ding dong with the fucking manager. Sorry, Dan, this is coming out, and he's told the crowd, right?
Is Dan in Perth at the moment?
No, he's in the UK, and
right,
he literally told the crowd, and he's like, "Hey, mate," he's got the crowd. He's like, "Right, first one to build a couch fortress wins." So they've got all this brand new fucking furniture.
Really?
Oh yeah, mate.
That's so cool, though.
So he plays with my
awesome.
brother Dougie Love. We'll get to the Dougie Love story. But yeah, Dan's fucking crazy. Good on you guys. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Yeah,
See if you can pull out the Foxhole. But then, so you had the record store, you had all the kids, and like, you know, had to play duck feeder kind of thing and sober them all up and everything.
Yeah.
What else happened after that?
Well, I mean, they all went home and that was all good and everything fucking, and we dodged a massive bullet then.
Yeah.
But there's like, I remember we ran a DJ competition on our fledgling website, and it was like, because we were running a night called Therapy. And
whereabouts was that?
This was in Blackpool at a nightclub called Insomnia.
Okay. Insomnia. Isn't that pretty renowned?
Foxhole, by the way.
That would be it. Yes.
There you
The
go.
Foxhole big party pub. It's now called, I don't know what it's called now. Boot Off Central as well. Fucking hell, yeah. You don't want to go in there without like preparing for a fight. It was fucking
really pretty rough and tough.
Yeah, Blackpool had some really big party venues, like the Foxhole. The Flagship was huge.
See if you can find Flagship as well.
Yeah, the Flagship was massive, especially on a Sunday. But oh god, man, you fucking serious heavy sesh.
Really?
Yeah, Blackpool's a party town. Yeah, Flagship. There you go. That's exactly what you like find in the Flagship. Yeah,
just girls everywhere.
Oh yeah.
That's a pretty cool roof as well. Pretty cool ceiling.
So it's in a amusement arcade called Coral Island.
Coral Island. Okay.
Yeah, Blackpool was
just a bunch of pictures of girls.
Yeah. What more do you want? It's Blackpool. There you go. Like it's fucking Blackpool. That's what you're going for, right?
Try and pull up Insomnia now as well.
Yeah, so Insomnia, we did a night called, and we ran this competition. And this guy from Ireland sent us a CD, right? And we were like, "Fuck me, this is good," right?
So is it a DJ mix CD?
Yeah. Send us a mix and we'll put you on the night. And and he said, "I saw your mix mag and I've seen your fucking competition. I'm in." And we was like, "Yeah, you're a hands down winner. Why didn't you come over?" And he's like, "I'm in Ireland, but I'm coming." And I'm like, "Commitment. All right, cool."
Yep.
He didn't just turn up. He turned up with like 16 of his mates. Like fucking, there was loads of them.
Really?
Yeah. And when we finished the night, they all were like, "Oh, we've got to keep partying. We've got to keep partying." So we ended up partying in the shop for like, fucking hours. Like, I mean, the sun had come up.
Really?
Oh yeah.
So like what? From like 6 p.m. till sunrise? Or
Yeah. Well, no, the night finished at like 2 a.m.
Okay.
And yeah, I remember kicking them all out because I had to open the shop.
Yeah.
Like, and I was fucking not in a good state.
Yeah, tipsy as all hell.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. That was not a great day. But yeah, the shop did us really well, and it definitely put myself and DeVito out there to be what we became. I mean, to the point that the shop allowed me to play in Ibiza, which was fucking unreal. Just being at the right place at the right time. I was in Ibiza. DeVito was out there with some chick, and it all gone fucking wrong, and they'd gone home. But I was staying with them, and I was literally like, we'd done all the big clubs and stuff like that, and it was all amazing. And I'd met some people along the way, just, you know, other DJs and stuff like that who were playing out there. And then I suddenly found myself in a fucking bit of a problem. I had nowhere to stay, hardly any money, and a backpack, and my flight was 3 days later.
In Ibiza?
Yeah, and literally.
Was it still really expensive back then as well?
Yeah, massively, yeah. So I went and hit up a guy called Dyson Payne, who ran a night called Too Damn Glam.
Too Damn Glam.
Yeah. And I was like, "Hey, man," and he was like, "Hey, dude, you can DJ, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I've not got any headphones or records with me." And he's like, "Well, you can just play out of my box. I'm desperate for a DJ. I've got to go and sort something out for somebody else. I just need a fucking DJ." And I'm like, are you fucking serious? And he's like, yeah, how much would you charge me? And I'm like, dude, I just need somewhere to put my head down for a couple of days. And he's like, wicked, you can stay at mine, no problem at all. Yeah, done? Done.
Sweet.
Fuck me. All of a sudden, wow, right? Like,
right place, right time.
Yeah, so the place was called Savannah's. It was right next to Cafe Mambo. And I remember like walking in there and with Dyson's fucking records, and I literally opened it and go, I have no idea what to expect. It could be anything.
Someone else's record.
And it was all like Soulful House and stuff like that. And I'm like, I know this backwards. Oh my God. Yeah. This is meant to be. And literally started playing and fucking, wow, that was amazing. And then thus grew fucking playing in Ibiza a few times.
And so what club was that again? Sorry?
Savannah's. It was right next to Cafe Mambo. Tiny little place. But
can you look that up as well?
Yeah. I've never played in either Amnesia or Pasha or anything like that,
But still, the thing is that you played on the island.
That's
what counts.
And no one can take that away from me.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, and it is an amazing thing when you hit and play in Ibiza.
Because it's just party 24/7 there.
Yeah, it didn't look like that when I was there. It did not look like that. That's Mambo. Oh, it's Savannah. Yeah, did not look like that. They've done fucking loads of.
There's Mambo.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be right next door, right?
Yeah, it is literally right next door. Yeah, Pasha own it. Yeah, man. But yeah,
like what year was that then?
Ibiza would have been 2005.
Really? Okay.
2006.
Yeah, so way back in the day.
2008.
Like,
yeah. So like the big tunes at the time was all funky house, going into like electro sort of styly. It was all Subliminal Records, Defected Records, Sulfuric. Fucking that was the big fucking labels. And I remember one year, Hands Up for Detroit got released when we were over there, and we literally...
Put your hands up for Detroit.
Yeah. And you could hear it from every single fucking bar. And like, you couldn't
that would have been worldwide.
Yeah, you couldn't get
away from it. Just like Avicii's Levels,
Well, it probably would have hit Perth like a year after it released.
Yeah. But, I mean...
While we're on the subject of Ibiza, Marco's just said, is there any recommendations of where to go in Ibiza?
So I haven't been to Ibiza for a long fucking time. Like, I imagine it's changed a lot, especially with the pandemic and stuff like that. But the one thing I would always say about Ibiza is look a bit deeper. Always look... Like, you've got the big clubs and you've got all that sort of stuff. And yeah, you've got to do all that. You've got to. But if you dig a bit deeper, you find so much more. Like, there's so much more going on.
I can imagine because Ibiza is like one of the big hubs
of
dance music.
And it would be one of those things where everyone goes to Space or everyone goes to Amnesia.
Yeah.
So if you go deeper and then you go like Savannah's or something like that, you might have a wicked time.
Yeah, there's so much more happening. But one thing you have to do is you have to go and see the sunset. By Cafe Mambo, at Cafe Mambo or not by Cafe Mambo. Just make sure you've got like a cold beer or a mojito and just go and watch that sunset. It's biblical. It's fucking unreal. Yeah, like I've never heard anyone turn around and go, oh shit, right? Yeah, like it was amazing. I remember the first time I saw it and I was a bit, what? How you going? And it was a real emotional experience. I ended up ringing my mum and I was just like, Mum, I've just seen the sunset in over San Antonio in Ibiza. It's just been the most incredible thing. And she was like, yeah, it's good, isn't it? And I was like, what the fuck? I didn't expect that. So man.
There you go, Marco.
Yep.
Now you
go to Mambo.
And go see a sunset.
Yeah, like definitely go and see the sunset. But there is so much. Well, it was. Like I said, I haven't been there in a long time. Your guest tomorrow is the man to ask about.
That's
the White
it,
Isle.
Mr. Soul Bliss is coming on.
Marco, you can tune in again tomorrow.
But I would be asking him about Ibiza. But Ibiza it's fucking nuts, man. Like you're talking days without sleep. You're talking like. It's just party after party after party after party after party after party, and I know people say, "Oh yeah, that's my lifestyle." No. Right? When it will push you to the absolute extreme, and when you realize it's now Tuesday and you've been out for 5 days, and you're like, "Holy fuck, I need to eat something." Right? Like, or at least sleep. Right? Yeah. But like I said, I haven't been for a long time. I do plan to go back and just.
But it would have been the best time to go almost as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was a time. I imagine like any time to go somewhere like that would be the best time if it's your first time, or like it's that place changes constantly. So
why stick on nostalgia? Like the place you're at right now is the best place to be.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You're supposed to be where you are right now. Yeah, and I imagine people have gone to Ibiza and and found themselves or not found themselves or whatever, and had the most incredible time, you know.
I found myself in Japan.
Yeah, all right.
But I wasn't at a club.
Okay, I've never been. That's somewhere I've always wanted to go. There, there's a Japanese DJ called DJ Crush, who's like a Japanese hip hop scratch DJ.
See if you can find him as well. But
right, like who I've always wanted to see live. He's on the
what was
fucking
his name again?
Crush, spelled Krush. Yeah. That's like I've got like a list of 10 DJs I really, really fucking must see before I die.
Could you say that again?
I can if you really want, but
bloody serious.
Yeah,
DJ
Yes,
Crush.
I have seen this guy before.
Yeah,
Really, you've seen him?
yeah.
No way.
I haven't seen him live, but I know of the guy. I've seen some of his stuff, his performances. Yes, he's really good. I went to a club in Japan called Drip or Liquid or Drop or something to do with water anyway. And you go in before midnight because they lock the doors at midnight. But when midnight hits, the whole floor of this, it's like a bar probably 3 times the size of this room.
Yeah.
And the whole floor lowers down into the basement.
Yeah,
while you're on the floor.
Yeah.
And then when you get into the basement, it's just like stripper poles and like huge lighting set up. And you can't, if you leave, you can't get back in.
When we go to Japan, we're going there. That sounds awesome. Yeah.
But did you know that dancing was banned in Japan until 2016?
I did not.
It was illegal to dance in Japan until 2016. I mean, people did it anyway. It was one of those laws nobody followed. But
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I remember that there used to be a club in, well, I don't remember, I've never been there, but there used to be a club called Womb in Tokyo that everyone went fucking nuts over. I never went, but
I've heard Womb,
one of those
Japanese Tokyo clubs.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Asia in particular, the Asian market, it's only been in sort of the last sort of 10 years that they've got into the dance scene because a lot of these Asian countries are very hoity-toity about like dancing and going out and drinking and that kind of stuff. So it's only been recently since we've seen like a big breakout in the like Asian market, especially China as well. With all just thought I'd bring that up to break the conversation up.
So what happened after Ibiza and like what other countries have you been to?
Ibiza happened, came and went. But along with Ibiza, like keeping on the party DJ sort of theme, I've got to tell the stories about fucking one venue in Blackpool called Walkabout, Walkabout.
See if you can find it.
Walkabout Blackpool, still there. It's fucking still. Oh yeah, it's still there. So Walkabout Blackpool it's a big venue, and I met a DJ called Matt Alcock and Dougie Love.
That's it there.
Yep. That's it.
Is this it here?
That looks like Dougie on a big night out.
It looks like a diner.
I mean, it didn't used to look like that.
No, that's an Australian
It's had
flag.
various facelifts. It's been burnt down once.
No, I think you go back out, type UK after it. You might have found it.
That's definitely it.
Really, with Australian flag on it.
Yeah, that's it.
Why would they have an Australian flag?
Because it was a Australian theme bar.
Oh, okay.
So they were a chain. They were a chain around the UK.
Yeah, because I think I went to a walkabout in Colchester when I was staying over
there. As a party DJ, Walkabout is your ministry of sound. It's fucking, if you're a party DJ, like that's at the time that was the standard, right? If you got to be a Walkabout resident, you were fucking good, right? Like, and I mean good.
Okay.
And
I mean, Aussie brand is
that's it. Like Little Creatures is there.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I had to audition for Walkabout. I got in, and yeah, like Dougie and I used to do. We used to do on a Saturday afternoon. We used to have like a rodeo ball.
A rodeo ball.
Yeah, you know, like a fucking bucking bronco thing.
Yeah,
with a big inflatable around it.
Yeah.
And oh my god, yeah, wow, did we get up to some shit?
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Oh wow, yeah, fucking hell, yeah, some absolute outlandish stuff that you just couldn't do nowadays because you'd be fired in seconds, right? Like, but back then it was like, oh yeah, right. Is she completely naked? Yes, mate, she is completely naked. She on the ball? Yes, she's on the ball. All right, fantastic. Right, yeah.
Is that ping pongs coming from her underground?
Like all that kind of stuff. Yeah, Walkabout Blackpool was like it was like my little fucking, it was like home. Like I played there a bunch of times, did multiple nights. a mate of mine called Gleebits, right?
Gleebits. Was it a girl? Or
no, Gleebits was a guy. He's called Dan. Okay. So Dan Gleebits. Okay, right? Gleebits.
I was about to say,
otherwise known as the coach. We took a really quiet Tuesday night, right? There was a DJ every night at Walkabout Blackpool, and we took the deadest night of the week and made it an absolute contender. Fucking hell, yeah, and did like a UV party and called it the Glow Job.
The Glow Job.
Yeah.
I can see that would have been successful.
Yeah, well, I mean, other pubs in Perth, such as the Saint and the Brass Monkey, also took that name. Wonder where they got that from.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Nothing is sacred.
No.
That's
it. Yeah. Walkabout Blackpool was fucking mental, absolutely mental. I met some fucking incredible people there and some incredible friends who I still have to this day. And we partied. But that leads me into coming to Australia, really, right? So, as I mentioned, the first time I came to Australia, I was in Singapore and went and did a gig in Thailand, then came back through Singapore and a mate of mine, Weavy, used to live here and took me on a whirlwind I came to Perth and took me on a whirlwind tour of Perth, and I got to see Rise, which was mental, Geisha, Amber, The Cot, back in the day, and it was just nuts. It was fucking nuts.
Did you play? You got some gigs?
No. I did visiting. I was just visiting, and it was literally, we're doing this, and we're doing that, we're doing this, and we're doing that, and doing this, we're doing that. And it just blew me away. And then went back and fucking did some more Ibiza stuff and some more Walkabout Blackpool stuff, and I became a resident at a nightclub like a bar stroke nightclub in Manchester called Spirit at the time.
Can you also look up Rise nightclub as well? Because a lot of people don't realise that Air nightclub
it was Rise.
Used to be Rise, and Rise was an establishment in Perth.
So it was crazy because I was massively into the hard house scene at one point.
Because it was hardstyle and stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah. And all the big hard house DJs who came to Australia would on their fucking list of where they wanted to play was Rise Perth, right? And Weavy used to...
I can't find Spirit.
Right, yeah, you won't.
Try find Rise though.
No, it's not. Definitely not.
Try find old school photos of Rise though, because I've been told so many stories where it was just you go there and it's just thump.
Oh yeah, it was fucking nuts. Hey, it was a proper nightclub. Yeah, there you go. It was fucking crazy. Hey.
Yeah, and so that's where Air Nightclub is now.
Yeah.
It used to be the logo there.
Yeah, and I met fucking Kenny L and Greg Packer there, and because Weavy was fucking connected, right? He knew everybody. And it was a week of absolute whirlwind shit. I remember getting back to Singapore and was like, fuck me, this place moves slow. Right? But Weavy just showed me everything. And then like I said, went back to the UK, started playing at Flamingo, which was a fucking huge nightclub in Blackpool, doing walkabout stuff, doing stuff in Manchester.
Try find Flamingo.
Yeah, so Flamingo's still there. When I was resident there, it was the world's largest gay venue. Okay. Well, sorry, Europe's largest gay venue. Europe's that was their tagline, and it was massive. It was 5 floors.
5 floors.
Yeah, it was fucking huge venue. Yeah. I actually got sacked from there for kissing a girl in the DJ box.
You got sacked for kissing a chick,
kissing my chick as well. Yeah,
your girl as well.
Yeah. That was it. And I got binned. Though they never said that was why, but that was why. Anyway, So anyway, me and said chick fell out, and fucking that ended. And I decided, because I'd made loads of mates at Walkabout. My mate at the time, my housemate at the time, Daryl, who's also not with us, God bless his soul. We worked out a plan of me circumnavigating Australia without paying for accommodation because I knew somebody everywhere, right?
That's the way to do it.
Sleep on people's couches, right? And I was like, fuck it, let's do it, right? Yeah. So I went into Sydney, met my mate Matt Alcock, who used to be a resident at Walkabout Blackpool, phenomenal DJ, fucking phenomenal. And met Alcock, and within 2 weeks I had a gig because he was working for a company who needed a DJ, and all of a sudden it was like, hey mate, fucking you're here, right? And I was like, sure, I'll go play and talk about fish out of water, because people were asking me for tunes and I was like, I don't know what the fuck that is.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And I was playing,
I'm from England, not here.
And I was playing big hitters that would have fucking rocked the place in the UK, and they were just looking at me going, what the fuck is this? Yeah. And I'm like, this is not going well, right? But we managed to get through that, and I managed to do a few gigs here and there. and earned a bit of money, and then went backpacking all the way up to Brisbane, and then went fucking down to Victoria, and then ended up in Perth. One of my best mates lives here. I was going to live with him for a while, and this was going to be the last stop, right? Perth, CGI, fuck off. Yeah, well, I was going to take, the original plan was to take the long way home, right? And I was going to,
a bit of backpacking.
Yeah, I'm going to go through Vietnam and do Asia, and then do, like, I really wanted to do still want to do the Eastern Bloc of Europe and shit like that.
Yeah.
And so Jai said, one of the ex-boss from Walkabout Blackpool, Jai was a manager there, but the VM, right, worked in Perth. He ran a fucking wine bar. And he was like, Damian wants to see you. We're going to go and see Damian. And I was like, okay, let's go and fucking see Damo. So he went and saw Damo, and he's like, how you been? You good? And he's like, yeah. And he goes, I know one guy who really needs your help. He needs your help. You will be the guy he needs. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, DJ wise. Well, have you not got a gig yet? And I'm like, no. And he goes, right, go and see this guy. His name's Anthony. His mates call him 5-0. He runs a fucking company called Power Music and Western Sounds. Go and see him. I was like, all right, Damo, you know I don't work for you anymore, and I've got my own choice. And he's like, no, you still work for me. Even like, you'll always still work for me. Go and see him. I was like, all right, I'll go and see him. So, So, and then off I fucking had nothing else to do, right? So then off I did, and fucking got on a train and went to Claremont, and fucking all of a sudden met 5-0 and Az-T and Scotty Wilkins, who ran this fucking company, who were like a AV company who had a DJ thing on the side. And ended up doing a couple of gigs for them, and then ended up being in the office because I had nothing else to do. I like my mates, they were like, Jai and Alice were working constantly as you do, and like I had no other friends or anything like that, so I just went down the office constantly. And they used to put the roster out, and every name was on the roster, right? So I was like, okay, wicked. So I'd heard rumors that most of the DJs drive in Perth to gigs and stuff like that, which isn't really the case in Blackpool unless you're an outsider.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, they almost get like a fucking bar card. I don't have much money. Let's see how this goes. So I just went around and saw all the DJs in the city that were on the fucking roster, and ended up drinking their bar cards and making friends with them. It's just been like, you know,
very nice.
Yeah, but
it's a handy tip for anybody listening.
Yeah, like,
be a friend of DJ because you get half their bar cards.
Yeah.
That's exactly
they don't want to get
Marco
sloshed.
said. Yeah,
they get $80 on the bar. Like,
yeah,
they only to drink 20 of that.
So yeah, and I met like fucking you know, a heap of DJs and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden I found myself talking to said DJs on the phone in like, you know, and doing proper booking stuff. And then the guys were like, right, it's getting time for you to fuck off. And I was like, yeah, it is. Like, yeah, you know, and I'm going to go and do my 3-month fucking fruit picking, and I'll come back for my next year. So I went down there. I couldn't hack that. I'm not built for fucking hard work like that.
Yeah.
For anyone on a farm, massive respect to you. I couldn't do that. That's fucking...
Just to get the visa.
No, yeah. Anyway, 5-0 rings me and he says, you're wasting your time. I rang you're too old. He said, like, you can go and do your 3 months, but you won't get your second year visa. So I was like, right, gone, right, yeah.
That's fair, yeah.
Boom, straight back to Perth. And literally straight back to Perth, and I found myself playing with hook and sling, right? And I was like, fucking hell, right? Like, yeah, this could be worse. And then the guys were like, right, so look, you've made an impact here. You're bringing something to the table. We're going to look at sponsoring you. And I was like, okay. Rewind a bit, right? Back in Sydney, when I was DJing in Sydney, and I was doing pretty well, I had a massive argument with somebody who will remain nameless, and he was there like, you'll never stay here, and you'll never stay here as a DJ. Right, fast forward again, back to where it was. On my 457 visa, to make up the hours, I had to DJ because they have to pay you a certain amount of money. Yeah. So I had to fucking do so many DJ hours, and that was in my visa. So I made it to Australia as a DJ.
That's so good.
I know, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love that story. But yeah,
that's the dream for so many people, though, as well.
Yeah. And that shit happened, right? All about being in the right place at the right time, and fucking and I did a heap of, in the early days. I did a heap of shit with Avenue, when it was Avenue and Club Bayview, and I did loads of little gigs round, and
what year did you get your visa then?
So that would have been I touched Australian soil 2010.
Yep.
I was in Perth for the end of February, start of March.
Yep.
Of 2011, kind of, and then
so you're coming on almost to your anniversary.
Yeah, well, which brings me to another thing, right? Which is crazy. I know this fucking like is all over the place, but I'm all over the place. So, so yeah, right as it stands now, I'm semi-retired, right? Like semi-retired. If you'd have asked me this a year and a day ago, I'd have been like, no, I'm done. I'm retired, right? What happened was the reason I walked away from the DJ thing was my girlfriend and I had to move back to the UK on some pretty bad circumstances for 2 years, family stuff, right? Anyway, to just get some more money together, I still had contacts, and I went and got some gigs, right?
But you had citizenship here as well.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I did. We were always coming back here, but we had to just go and do some stuff. So I was DJing at Walkabout Blackpool, Saturday night, Walkabout Blackpool, the biggest fucking night. And I looked out at the crowd, and they were all young, and I was just like, they don't believe me. And it was just this weird fucking moment, and I just knew it was over. Like, I was like, they don't believe me. I could play fucking anything. They're best tracks that they absolutely love, and they don't believe me. It's done. Right?
Okay.
Do you think your age really affects, like, with the crowd?
Do you know what? I do, right?
And I mean, it's so dark up there, you can barely see.
That's exactly it.
Right.
If you're playing bangers and you're dancing...
No, it's not like an age perception thing. It's an age where you go, do you know what? Like if you're happy doing what you're doing, then great. But if you're doing your shit for money, and then all of a sudden, like, not only becomes a job, it becomes a job that's now very hard to do.
So it wasn't necessarily the dance floor; it was more a realization you came to it.
And I looked at this crowd, and I was like,
because if it becomes hard to do, then you know.
Yeah, and I was like, and I just looked at this crowd, and I was like, this is weird. And I walked out of there, and I was like, you know, I'm not saying it's over, but it's over. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Right? Like, yeah, it was the weirdest fucking feeling ever. Come back to, you know, Perth, and I had to get a few gigs just to get money going in. And yeah, 21st of February 2021, Fiverr gave me a call, and he's like, hey man, the Left Bank need a DJ. And the Left Bank's always been on my list of gigs to play. I've got like a fucking whole list of venues I've always wanted to play, some silly, some not, you know, like some that don't exist anymore, but you know, the Left Bank for some reason was always on it, and I was like, fuck it, I'm in. He gave me an hour and a half to put a house set together, which I did. It was all classic stuff, so that was easy. And went down and played, and they invited me.
Put your hands up.
Not quite, but yeah, I mean, I could have done. Yeah, like played there, did a second gig, and that went really well. And then all of a sudden, the ball started rolling, and then you know, just like. Yeah, like just little gigs started coming in that were, and it's good.
The bug again for the
yeah, like, and it was like, holy shit, like I'm enjoying this. And there's other gigs that I'm now, because I'm semi-retired with a day job and a cat and a house. I'm like, oh, do you know what? I don't want to do that. Like,
that's fair, yeah.
Bad for passing it up.
No, whereas before, you know, when I was. You know, people call themselves a full-time DJ. If you're calling yourself a full-time DJ, forget that, right? Bin that. You're a pro. You're a professional fucking DJ.
Thank you.
Right, well, that's it. You're a pro, right?
Yeah.
You're a pro DJ, right?
Yeah.
That's what you do. But when you are pro, it's all about the next gig. You know,
that's exactly it.
Right. And you're only as good as your last show, right?
So if you have doing gigs. So.
That's it, and that's what's happened with me as well. Because for the last 6-7 years, that's all I've been doing, and I've been surviving off of it.
Yeah, and it's good money. It's fucking good money. Right?
It's so good money, and you just work the weekend. That's all you do. Monday to Thursday, I recover and hang out and just do whatever I want to do and stuff.
Yeah. What other job can you do where you go to somebody else's venue to play somebody else's records, to drink somebody else's beer?
That's it. Yeah, just party and dance. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But see, that's the issue that happened with me though, because of COVID and because of everything everything the way it is. Now we've got these new restrictions today and everything like that. Like I'm now doing FIFO, whatever, however you say it. Yeah. But the reason why I'm doing that is because now I can actually save up and hopefully afford to buy a house.
How much does it suck DJ in a mask, by the way?
In a mask?
Yeah, it fucking sucks.
I actually don't at all, really.
Right.
Like,
you can always use the excuse I'm performing.
No, well, that's it. I always take it off. As soon as I start DJing, I'll take it off. But then if I go to the bar, go to the toilet, I'll put it back on kind of thing.
So I've had a couple of bar gigs. I was playing at Mr. Chapel, the old synagogue, which was fucking ace, by the way. Awesome. Fucking, like, I got...
Can you look up the old synagogue? Because it's so divided. There's
so you've got like our bar and fucking... And there was Mr. Chapel, and at the moment they've stopped DJs, but come on... bring us back.
Yeah.
But they said, oh, what are you going to play? And I was like, oh, no, it was literally, they rang me and was like, I need a DJ now. I'm like, cool. Yeah, I'm there. And I'm like, oh, what am I supposed to be playing? They're like, oh, remixes of 80s and stuff like that. And I'm like, right, you've given me half an hour to get here. We're playing funk and soul, which I'm a big fan of. I'm a huge funk and soul fan.
Yeah.
Right. And they were like, okay.
All right.
Is that going to be good? And I'm like, well, let's find out. If you don't like what I'm playing after 2 hours, then fucking tell me to sling my hook and we'll go from there, right? But I'm doing you a favour.
Yeah.
And after the first gig, they were like, oh, yeah, you're coming back. And I was like, wicked, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's what you want, yeah.
Bing. Yeah.
I've got a question from Marco. He says, question for the experts. How do you learn to program a set? Obviously, the technical skills can be learnt, but how do you learn to trust yourself with the programming?
Right.
So I assume what he means by programming is like song selection?
Yeah.
Well,
so
we'll do one-on-one.
All right. So that's a big question, right? Because if you're doing like a mammoth set, so over 90 minutes, programming then doesn't really come into it. Like, you've got selections of stuff that works together, and you kind of put all this stuff together, and that's when you really start reading a crowd, right?
Yeah.
When you're doing like a 4, 5, 6 hour set, that's when you start getting into like proper Jedi shit, where you start moving people without them realizing you're moving. You're rotating your crowd. And stuff
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. But that's what you're doing, right?
Yep.
You're taking the people from the dance floor to the bar, and taking the people from the bar to go and sit down with their drinks, and the people who sit down with their drinks are going to the dance floor.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Right, yeah. And that's what you're doing without them fucking realizing it. So programming then, to me, doesn't really come into it. It's just what you're doing. But if you're doing like a 90-minute club set or a 90-minute fucking festival set where you are like, hey, we are playing this, right? That's when you have to start thinking, right, who's on before me, who's on after me, what time slot am I there for, what do I really want to play in this thing, no matter what. I must have like 4 or 5 tracks that I really want to play. What else can I throw in there? And then also taking the element of that kind of DJing, of having a load of fucking stuff.
It all comes down to experience.
Yeah, I would say so, definitely. And the other thing is as well the art of the mixtape, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I still believe that the mixtape is a very powerful tool to like get anywhere you want to,
Nowadays, we just call it a mix, but yes.
Right, okay. Okay, fucking hell. Yeah, all right, I'll just go and get my stick.
What about you, Alex? Do you have any tips for Marco?
And so what I would say is similar thing as well. Like, if you're doing a long format set, go to the venue beforehand, or maybe go and scope it out, what the venue looks like, what the people are like, what the age demographic is, the whole lot kind of thing. And when you go there, when you start DJing, maybe play, say if you're on the beachfront, maybe start with like a Rufus track or a Disclosure, something beachy or whatever, but look around and see the venue, see the people and go, what can I play to get him dancing? What can I play to get that couple up and about and having a good time, or singing along, or this or that? Just look at the age demographic and think if they're from, they look like they're 30 years old, then maybe try and slide in something from the 90s or something like that, and see how it can all play out kind of thing. And then on top of that as well, when it gets 4, 5 hour, 6 hour sets, just try and organize a playlist. So for me, I've got 32,000 songs, right? And so with that, I've got a playlist of about 8,000, 9,000 songs, which is my main selection of bar, pub, and kind of like small club kind of stuff. Yeah. And then, I've got like a nightclub playlist, and I've got all sorts of different playlists that, and practice. But a lot of people, I find, can't practice at home, because if you're trying to do bar work or pub work, it's all about reading the crowd.
It's also expensive to buy DJ decks, especially ones that are similar to club or pub.
But it's also, just quickly, one of those things as well is that if you make little mistakes, then you own those mistakes. Don't get hell upset or get a lot anxious or worried or anything like that, because it shows that you're human in a way. Because if you do the perfect set, then people just think it could be potentially you're just pressing play and it could be 5 songs at a time, then going into another 5 songs or something like that.
I like to play off my mistakes. Like if I leave an effect on, I'll just play it out.
Well, that's exactly it. Yeah. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, the general punter doesn't realize that you're making a mistake. Unless it's like you put your hand on the deck and the whole music stops for like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Because if the music stops for a second, you're the one that notices it. It's like 10...
It's a long second.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's exactly...
It's torturous.
Exactly.
I'd just add to this as well, in my own little respect. When it comes to song selection, I obviously have playlists that are... I don't like to go by genre. When I'm setting up my playlist, I go by vibe.
Yeah,
right, okay.
So these are heavy dance floor bangers. They go in the heavy dance floor banger folder. Or these are more background music, so I put them in the background music page.
Yeah.
But I've also got a playlist where I've gone and picked songs that play well together.
Yeah.
So track 1 and 2 in the playlist go well together. 2 and 3 go together. 3 and 4, and so I can go through and I can pick these odd even numbers. And go, okay, those 2 would go well. I can mix those out for 8 minutes because I know that they work well together. So that'd be another tip.
So just quickly,
what did John say?
Practice. Right. So that's something I used to drill into any sort of like student I've ever had. Practice, and when you're sick of it, change genre and practice. And when you're still sick of that, that's the time you go back and you press record, because that's when you'll get your best stuff. What did Dan Mason say?
And see, for me as well,
says, John, it's strange you describe knowing it's time to wind down like this. I had the same feeling this week DJing at Walkabout about knowing the end is near. Nice to know I'm not alone in feeling it, as not even being able to talk about this as thought most DJs would understand. You just described everything that's going on in my head.
Like, and it's a big thing, right? It is. So the older DJs, like, it is a big thing, because when you're younger, you don't think about this. You just think you're invincible and you can go out and party till fucking whenever, and the gigs will never stop. And don't get me wrong. 30, and don't get me wrong. I know like older DJs than me who are still fucking rocking it, like Darren J, Dougie Love, like fucking
in their blood,
and they're still fucking going, and they're still out fucking 6 nights a week. You know,
but you find they probably wouldn't drink that much though, because the hangovers last so much longer the older you get.
I don't know anything about that, but but when you know, right? You know, and I always used
to the UK, Alex.
No,
I wonder differently over there, right?
And it's you always see like. You always have this thing of like fucking.
Thank you, Mark. I feel that.
I'm never going to quit. I'm never going to quit. And then all of a sudden it comes up and it's like, what now? What do I do now? But like all of a sudden you might be given a second chance, or all of a sudden you can do something else. You know, it's.
See, I would always say as well is if you've devoted most of your life to music, then try and find something else in music to do. Because it's just like, you know, what people say about like owning pubs and stuff like that and venues. Like, I've been told that if you own a really successful pub and you've owned it for most of your life, and then you sell it and you don't do anything, you retire, then it's like, you know, just not doing anything, it kind of like shortens your lifespan almost. Because you stop doing what you've loved, what you've done for such a long time. But when you give it up and you put the reins up and you're just sitting at home, like, you know, just living off your retirement fund, well then you're not doing what you used to do, kind of thing.
I always used to say DJs don't retire, the phone just stops ringing.
That's it, I agree with that.
But it isn't the case.
No.
Like, I've seen a lot of like incredible fucking guys just walk away.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, well, like, I've seen a lot of guys fucking have like 9 billion fucking I quit party. Right, like, you know, I'm having another I quit party. No. Right, that's not my style. Mango's just said there that like he's been to a gig with me where I've lifted the wrong needle off the wrong record, and the bar manager copped a load of shit for it. Correct, absolutely, that happened. Yes.
But what was your biggest bomb?
My biggest bomb?
Yeah.
As in,
surely you've had like a moment where you've just completely fucked up.
Also, scroll up. I think we missed the question.
Right. How do you want to describe this? Right, like as in where I've fucked up beyond control, or where I've made a mistake?
Both.
Okay, so made a mistake. I was playing in a bar that had just opened, and I accidentally broke the CD player, and and nothing could happen, and bar closed.
Really?
Yeah, bar closed. 3 hours into it. My fault. Right. It's
hard. Actually break the CD player?
I did break the CD
player. How did you break it? What happened?
I fucking just walked into it a bit weirdly. Like, it was one of those ones that have like the Denon thing with the tray, and like had the tray out, and I knocked it and the tray fell out, and so I'm then flying on one engine and a mic, and no, not good. Right. Yeah.
So you jump on the mic, you fade out one track, you quickly load it.
Right. Yeah, that's what you try and do. But okay. So one of my losing control of a venue completely. All right. I once DJ'd an organised fight, right? That I didn't know it was an organised fight. I was just DJing away, and then all of a sudden the pub went up, and it was fucking serious. And they had Riot Squad in there, and fucking guys with batons and fucking. Oh my god, it was nuts.
What did you do? Did you pause the music?
No, I just fucking stood there going. And the only person who didn't get fucking hit or anything was me, the DJ. Wow. Right.
Well, best time to be DJ, I suppose.
So, in the interest of time, I will tell you a story about a venue that I used to DJ in.
Is this the bachelor party story? Because Britty's just come in and said, I sense the bachelor party.
Shout out to Britty.
Yes, this is the bachelor party story. This is where I fucking lost control of a venue. Okay, so as I said, Blackpool is stag and hens and all that sort of stuff. At the time, I was known as fucking having a bit of chip on my shoulder, and I would do stuff that other DJs wouldn't. I was a bit crazy. I was a bit wild. Fucking they couldn't control me.
That's a good way to do it, in a way, though.
Yeah,
kind of. Depending on the crazy, though.
So I played in a venue called the Station in Blackpool, top of Queen's Square. It doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So the Station, we were a meetup venue. So you're not a destination venue, you're a meetup venue where people come and meet up and then they go on, right? But they were doing that all times of the night, right? So you'd get dead bits, and I had this huge stage next to me, fucking massive stage next to me that nobody ever wanted to use. Everyone else just and this group of guys came in. They said from Liverpool, hey mate, fucking right, and they were like, we've just been sent from Brannigan's, which was a big party venue, and they'd one of my party DJ idols, fucking Mike Hampton, he'd sent them up. They were on a stag do, and they'd got a list of games, right? And I don't remember exactly what was on the list, but they'd gone to Mike and said, hey, can you play one of these games with our stag? And he's just looked at it and gone, nah, man, fucking nah. And they're like, oh, come on, there's got to be someone. And he's like, yeah, you may as well go and see Jon Ee up in the Station, right? Yeah, go and see Jon Ee. Yeah.
You were put on the spot.
Float him a couple of beers, and you might do all right. I don't know. So I'm there, and I'm stood there, right? And the night was busy, right? And it's busy, and I'm driving it, and it's fucking happening, right? This guy comes up to me. These guys are all in suits as well. And he was like, hey, mate, fucking, I've spoke to Mike Hampton. He's told me to come up here, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, and I looked at this list, and I'm like, I just remember looking at it going, no. And then there was one on there, which was get a girl to write her number on his penis. And I'm like, I can pull this off.
Yeah,
I can do this. Yeah, I can fucking do this. Right. Yeah. So we'll get the stag up.
That's
right.
The one you picked to do. What were the other ones?
I can't remember, but they were fucking horrendous. Right.
I can imagine if that's
right.
The one
so I've got we're going to do a game, right? So when you do a game or a visual, it's a big thing, right? Because you have to stop the music, and you have to get everyone on board, and you have to get everyone in that sort of fucking hey, it's going to happen, right? You've got to you G them all up and all that sort of stuff, but still keep control of the venue, right? So I get this guy up, right? And I'm like, hey mate, yeah, cool, no worries. And there was a bottle of champagne involved, because I said, I'm not only doing this for a bottle of champagne, and they bought me said bottle of champagne. Then they were like, go for it. And I'm like, all right, let's do this. So I got this guy up on stage, and I'm like, right, okay, and I'm doing this game, and I'm like, okay, so we need a female volunteer, and the pub is packed, right? Packed. And I'm like, I need a female volunteer. Nobody put their hands up. And I'm like, really need a female volunteer. Fucking hell, I'm losing momentum. And this hand comes from behind, and she was disgusting. She was fucking gross, man. Right? She was gross. Right? Dark grey skin, big fucking bulging black eyes, greasy hair, and I was like, all right, you'll do.
Here we go.
Right. So, and I'm like, okay, I now need a pen. Right. So I said to the bar staff, and I'm like, okay, I need a pen. And all they could find was a fucking magic marker. Right. And I've gone on stage, and I'm like, right, okay. So, first thing is, put your hands in the air, put your hands in the air. Next thing is, I want you to take his trousers down. It's all going off, right? Okay, and now I want you to pull his jocks down and write your phone number on his penis, and they're like fucking the place is like yeah. Right, and like the door staff are going, oh my god, he's at it again, and like and it's all happening fine, and everything's like, you know, and they're all taking photos and fucking, you know, because it wasn't on phones then, like little like
Polaroids and stuff.
Yeah, and she's like she's trying to write with this magic marker, and she's like, oh, I can't put my number on it, the pen's too big. And I was like, well, why don't you make him too big? I tell you what, why don't you drop to your knees and give it a suck, right? And she did.
No shit.
In the middle of the pub. She starts sucking him off, right? She starts giving him a blowjob, right? And he's just stood there like that. You're fucking awesome as a DJ. This is fucking brilliant. However, the
bar manager.
No. We'll get to that, right? So, however, the people in the stag do were the bride's brother, the bride's father, the bride's fucking best friend, and all of a sudden they're like, yeah, this is not funny anymore. We're gonna kick your head in. You've got to get this to stop. And I'm like, stop, please stop. And I was not in great favor with the bar manager at the time. His name was Paul. God knows where he is now. But like fucking at the time we were on a rocky road anyway, because he was like, you've got to fucking stop your attitude. I don't like the way you fucking DJ. Okay, it gets people in here, but I don't like what you say to people, and you're a viper and all this sort of shit. Yeah. And he's literally walked downstairs with a beer and he's put it on the side of the DJ box and he's like, all right, John, what the fuck is going on? And I'm like, I really need some help right now. Can you please get this fucking sorted? And he's like, yeah. Door staff, sort it. The door staff are in absolute ribbons. They're just fucking falling about laughing. And I'm like, and I'm getting death threats, right? And they're throwing shit at me. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Right, we managed to get it sorted out. They fucking left. And yet the guys who were involved with the bride didn't leave. They stayed outside the pub. I had to spend the night in the pub, right? They wanted blood. Oh, yeah. And in the morning, they were fucking all there. Yeah. And I was like, wow, this is fucking heavy shit.
No shit.
No, yeah, absolute. Yeah. That fucking happened.
So did you manage to escape?
I did manage to escape. I escaped out the back and went straight to the record shop, Sanctuary, thank fuck. Right, and I was sat in the record shop going, and at the time I used to smoke a lot of weed. I don't smoke any weed now, but and I was literally trying to put this fucking thing together. And then I had a phone call and it was the manager and he was like, you are fired. And I'm like, I know. I know. I'm fired. Fuck. And then, he came back on the Saturday afternoon, shop's rocking, right? We've got records flying around everywhere and God knows what. And he's like, I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I need a DJ for tonight. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah.
That was quick.
So I was like, okay, what happened? And he goes, so I fired you and I've shown my boss, the area manager, what happened, the CCTV footage. He said it's one of the most impressive things I've ever seen and he's offering you a pay rise. And I was like, what? Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So there you go. That was the time I lost fucking control. But if you talk about bad gigs, they all kind of blend into one. Do you know what I mean? It all kind of you don't dwell on it, right?
Yeah.
The good gigs outshine it all, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But see, that's one hell of a story, though.
Yeah.
You lost control, but at the same time, it was like, yeah, you're back, pay rise.
Fucking hell, right? And at the time, I was like, how am I going to pay the rent? Fucking, what am I going to do? Yeah. And we had a scream at the station. Hey, absolute fucking scream. Yeah, nuts. Yeah, that fucking really did happen. Yeah.
Marco says, "What a mad lad."
Right?
Yeah.
Holy shit!
And well, I guess the story was coming anyway, but thank you, Michael, for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Yes, Michael's heard lots of my fucking DJ shows.
Yeah, what a hero! Exactly.
That's Alex Grimshaw, otherwise known as Leroy Jenkins.
Okay.
You know the Leroy Jenkins bit. Leroy Jenkins. Yeah, he was Leroy Jenkins at Walkabout Blackpool.
Very nice.
Why, he just screamed that out? Or?
Yeah, and then we proceed to get fucking on it, right? Yeah. How you doing?
Call.
Yeah, he was like, how you doing, dude? Yeah, I'm good. I'm fucking great. Yeah. Him and a guy called Kenny, who is also he's in Tasmania. They had a fucking great thing of fraping you when, you know, people used to get onto your Facebook and all they do is change your birthday to the next day.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, fucking hell, hilarious.
Yeah. See, that happened to me for a while, and then mine got locked on September 11th, 2001.
Mine got locked as well, and I was locked at 99 years old, so...
99.
You're looking good for 99.
And also I speak Mongolian.
Yeah, but that's what I mean, right? Like, that's good for you. But mine was locked on September 11th.
My friends weren't that inventive, alright?
Yeah.
They just thought it was funny that I was Mongolian and that I was 99 years old.
So I got to ask as well. So what countries have you been to and played at then?
Okay, so I have played in obviously the UK.
Yeah. But like you played a lot of places in the UK.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Then,
So all over England, from London, Manchester, Birmingham, Liverpool, fucking hell, like loads of all over the place.
Blackpool.
Yeah, Blackpool, Barnsley.
I played in Essex.
No, never played in Essex.
Jersey? Is it Jersey?
No, yeah, Jersey's. I've never played Jersey. You know, everything from doing party venues to watching people break into warehouses in Bradford and fucking going to do warehouse raves.
Yeah.
Yeah, nuts. Absolutely fucking nuts.
I would have loved to live in the UK during the like renaissance of like.
Yeah, it still goes on. It still happens.
Well, yeah. I mean, it still goes on here as well. But
Yeah.
It's just
something
different
about that period. I don't know if it's nostalgia or like
FOMO
or something like that.
Well, before technology, because then it's like I've been told stories like you go to a phone booth and someone go to this phone booth.
That's right.
And then this is the location.
Yeah.
Then you go there.
Yeah,
and like
that's how it works.
And then the cops would rock up.
Yeah. And then it fucking wow.
Mark also says don't forget Karatha.
Karatha?
Yes, I've played in Karatha. Wow.
Very nice.
I'd never seen Red Dirt, and the guy sent me up to Karatha to DJ up there, which was fucking like that was mental. Hey, because I was expecting full on fucking just tradies and stuff, and I played at the Tambray, and it was just nuts.
I think that's the thing with those sort of like up north or going down south is such a small population that when they hold these events, everyone brings it because everyone knows in town that it's going on.
So I've played in France, I've played in Germany, I've played in Spain, both on the mainland and obviously Ibiza, Gran Canaria, Thailand, Singapore, Australia.
Where did you play in Singapore, by the way?
What?
Where did you play in Singapore?
Where did I play in Singapore? I just played for, what did we say?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, right.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah, let's not dwell on Singapore.
What about Germany though?
Germany was just, it was a gig for a mate of a mate.
Yeah.
Right. And I was playing in a little house room next to a fucking techno room.
Fuck yeah.
And there was like 16, 17 people in this little house room who were really into it. They were really, really into it. Like, and I mean fucking into it. And then I walked into the techno room and it was just fucking packed. And I was like, wow, you really like techno. And one of the guys was like, yeah, that's, you know, anything else but techno is, you know, you may as well just be fucking wrong. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay.
Those techno heads, you just need to put a paper bag on their head.
Yeah.
They exist.
Yeah. So.
Sorry, techno heads.
Look.
Actually, maybe not sorry.
Yeah. Well, you know. Obviously Australia. I've played in Macau.
Macau?
Yeah.
Where's that?
In the Philippines.
Where's Macau? I've never.
China.
Oh, China.
So.
Oh, you played in China.
I've played in China.
People follow you around and stuff like that.
No. So a mate of mine called Jason Dewey used to live here in Perth, and in Perth he was just another DJ. But
it's really close to Hong Kong.
Yeah,
Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in Asia, he is massive, and I mean massive. Like, he's fucking huge, and he was on tour. And he was doing a fucking tour, right? And what we used to do is I used to go around to his house, have a few beers and a glass of wine, and we used to put his fucking tour sets together, right? My ninja DJ trick is I'm really good at putting like a fucking like a mixtape together.
Yeah.
And Jason was like, fucking hell, let's help me build some sets. And I was like, all right, cool. So we'd literally just fucking for hours upon end just go, this sounds really good, it'd be really cool if you did this here, and like all this sort of stuff. And then he rang me and he was like, hey man, I've got a problem. And I'm like, what? And he goes, my warm-up DJ's just broken his fucking leg in a water skiing accident. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, I need a DJ now. And I'm like, are you asking me to come on tour with you? And he's like, yeah, you've done tour stuff before, right? And I'm like, yeah, right. I can do tour stuff. And he's like, wicked, let's book you a flight. Go and ask your boss if you can have a month off. And I'm like, wicked, 5-0, I need a month off. Why? I'm going to go and play with Dewey. And he was like, oh, yeah, all right. You've got it. You may as well. Yeah. Wicked. And I was like, to my girlfriend, I was like, babe, I'm going away for a month. And she was like, where? And I'm like, Hong Kong. When are you going? Now. Right? Like, fucking hell. And that night I flew over and followed Jason around for a month. And we did the biggest gig I've ever done in my life, which was at the World Trade Center in Manila, which was Ad Hoc Festival. Dewey and Ace Ramos were the headliners. And yeah, I was the first DJ on, right? But when I started, I was on this massive fucking stage and people would look like ants.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, this is a bit big.
How many people do you reckon? Like 10,000?
So it was sold out at 7,500. Okay. Right. Yeah. However, it's the Philippines and they're clever guys, right? They're clever people and they worked out how to duplicate the tickets and we played to 15,000 people.
Holy shit.
Right? Yeah. If you look on my Facebook page, right, me doing that, right, is literally me coming off. Yeah. And I was like, this is nuts, right? Because I started, like, my little set started and it was like like, you know, like just warm up stuff, and then all of a sudden I was like, this is filling up very quickly, and I mean very, very quickly. What the fuck? This is full.
And that's it there.
Yeah, that was the World Trade Center in Macau. Yeah, 15,000. They reckon. Crap. Yeah, it was absolutely nuts, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers, the claim to fame about this gig is the Red Hot Chili Peppers played an extra night because they were playing on the same night that we were, and they didn't get half the crowd.
They didn't get half the crowd?
No, they were all there. Yeah, it was fucking nuts, hey. And it was just like the most nuts experience ever. And after the gig, Dewey was like I remember going to bed, and then Dewey was in my hotel room going, get up, come on, get up, we've got to move. And I'm like, what the fuck? Right, like, wow, where are we going? And he's like, look, I told you, I'm looking after the crew. And we went to a private island. Yeah, I'm not joking, right? The first thing they asked us were, you got to surrender your phone, anything with a camera, not allowed cameras. You weren't allowed fucking anything like that, right? It was completely free beer. And there was like Filipino actors and politicians.
One of those like upper class.
Oh yeah, it was fucking nuts. And there was people just like openly smoking ice and fucking like just getting on it. Yeah. And I remember being stood on this beach just by myself going, fuck, I'd love another beer. No one's asked me if I want another beer. Fuck, I'd love another beer. And then this, like, I asked someone, one of the waiters, and I was like, can I have another beer? Nobody came back, and I was like, oh fuck. Because I'm nobody, do you know what I mean? Like, and then I grabbed this older guy, and I was like, man, where'd you get your beer from? Because I can't find a bar. And he's like, oh, do you need a beer? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, who are you with? And I'm like, Dewey, I'm his warm-up DJ. And he's like, oh, you're the English one. Hang on 1 minute. And all these people just fucking came out of nowhere, right? And then he was like, this is Jason's friend. I never want to see him without a cold beer. And I couldn't get away from him. Right? Like, honestly, literally, I would turn the corner and somebody would be like, and I was like, fuck! And like, I've got one. I've got two. Right? Yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah, that's probably one of the most amazing experiences as a DJ I've ever had in my entire life. I mean, I truly believe if you are so passionate about this business and if you give back to this business, then it will reward you in some certain ways. It will, and that was my little fucking wow. You have arrived. Yeah, just insane. Absolutely insane.
Well, if that doesn't give anyone the kick in the ass that they need to go out and like be at events and be around people that are in the
if you want a kick in the ass to get you off your ass and fucking get on the decks, right? There's a movie by Doug Parry called Scratch. It's an old documentary now, and it's all about hip hop DJs.
Okay.
If you want something to inspire you to fucking go out and DJ,
all right, no, I'll give that a watch tonight. Actually, Scratch. All right.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, I think it's still on YouTube, but it is old, right? It is old.
Like 90s or 80s or?
2000s, early 2000s.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's old now. It's 20
years
ago,
like,
so.
but it's all about vinyl.
2001.
Yeah, it's all about like scratch DJs and, you know, yeah, like, so the CDJ wasn't a thing then. Yeah.
And Davo, Go Sulfuric Records. Nice shit.
Hey! Yeah, Sulfuric. Yeah, like, I'll probably never wear this again. Sulfuric is one of my favorite fucking labels of all time ever. And when they went into obscurity and I was absolutely gutted, and then Defected bought them, and I was just like, holy shit, are you fucking kidding? Well done, Mr. Dunmore. You've done something right.
Are they still around now, or have they just been merged into...
So no, they're still around. They're still its own entity, but it's owned by Four to the Floor, which is Defected. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Who are slowly buying
everything.
Yeah, everything. yeah, like everything. I did hear a rumor. It is only a rumor. It comes from a very reliable source.
It's a rumor from a reliable source.
It is a rumor from a reliable source that there is something in the works, maybe going to happen to resurrect Subliminal Records, Eric Murillo's label.
Okay.
Because that...
Under new management?
Oh, well, yeah, because he's dead. So, under very dubious circumstances. But yeah, I heard something. Don't know if it's going to happen or not. But
Marco says the Disney of record labels.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Yeah, I mean, they do seem to own fucking a lot nowadays. Yeah. They really do.
Well, I mean, the Disney of record labels is Sony.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Right, yeah. Well, there's the big four in there. There's Atlantic, Sony.
Yeah, Universal.
Who's the other one?
No, it's not Paramount.
RCA is the other one. Yeah, and everyone's a subsidiary of them. Right. So, like, I love it when, like, it doesn't happen so much now, or I just don't move in those circles, but you used to meet people and they're like, I'm an independent artist and I've got my own label. And it's like, all right, who's your cover label? Oh, Island Records. RCA, right? So, you're on, you know, and then you see like, oh, you know, Snoop owns fucking Death Row Records, Sony, right? Okay, so
didn't Snoop recently like make a purchase?
Yeah, he just bought Death Row Records, but
that's what.
But they're owned by like
Sony,
yeah, it's the fucking big pyramid thing. Yeah, it's crazy. The music industry's nuts.
Death Row Records,
yeah.
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg purchased the Death Row Records brand last week for an undisclosed amount from a music group controlled by investment giant Blackstone.
It'll be an NFT record label.
Dr. Dre's label.
Yeah. Crazy.
Anyway, we've got only a few minutes left. Alex,
so where can people find you? And like,
so you can find me on Facebook. I don't do Instagram. I'm old. Right, I should do Instagram. Everyone keeps telling me I'm gonna fucking set it up. I am, right? But find me on Facebook, Jon Ee Music. That's where you can find me. Or you can, that's the best place to get hold of me. And so boys, thanks ever so much for having us on, right? There's so much. There's so much shit I wanted to cover which we haven't even talked about. Yeah. Right.
Well, we'll get you back and then we'll just write a list of stuff you want to talk about. We'll make sure we cover it.
Like
so many cool stories.
My biggest takeaway is you guys are doing something so incredible for the DJ community and the dance music community of Perth that it's just like amazing. What an achievement. Like you really want to be proud of yourselves and keep going. And hopefully we'll see you at 212.
Yeah,
right?
That's it.
Yeah, keep going.
And then we'll have definitely interviewed everyone in Perth.
Yeah, maybe.
Will you? Because you keep finding people, man. And I'm like, who the fuck is that?
So much research.
Yeah.
So much research.
Guys, if you're in the chat and you're a muso or you work in the Perth nightlife entertainment industry,
if you want to come on,
hear from all walks of life.
That's it. Hit us up and we'll get you on.
Yeah,
100%.
Oh, and before we go, I've got to give a mention. If you want to catch me doing my thing on a large scale, I am playing at Base Camp not this weekend, coming the weekend after, Sunday night. I've been cooking on this one for a while.
Do you have set times yet? Do you know when you're playing?
I do. I am.
Is it allowed to be said?
Yeah, I think. I'm not sure.
Oh, let it rip.
And whereabouts
I'm on the end, so I'm 10 till 11.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh no, 11 till 12. 11 till 12. Playing big heavy breaks that like I did it soon. Yeah. Which you can also listen to my Mixcloud page. Yep. Yeah.
That went pretty big, right? Your mix from soon.
It did. I've had like the whole mix thing. That's something we didn't touch on, right? So I've done really well with certain mixes. I did a mix called Somersault in 2013, all the way back in 2000, nearly 10 years ago now. Fucking hell. When Beatport did mixes, if you remember when Beatport did mixes, and it ended up going to number 2 in the global mix chart.
Really?
Solid effort.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Somersault was a huge thing. The Soon mix actually went to the number 1 beats chart on Mixcloud for Australia, which was huge, and I got to number 5 in the global breakbeat chart. So big thanks to everyone who supported that.
How many views and stuff like that then?
So the way the algorithm works is you've got a week. You put a mix up and you've got a week. So push the fuck out of it.
Okay.
So
and then after that,
you're done. Right.
Yeah.
That's it. You're done. Unless you're a pro member or you're paying for stuff. I don't know. But yeah, big shout to everyone who fucking helped me out with that. Yeah. And there you go. Your girlfriend must be pretty awesome to be okay with you.
On tour for a month.
On tour for a month. Yeah, she is. That is my girlfriend.
Hi, Jenny.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jenny.
Yeah. That's yeah. And she was pretty cool. She went to Bali. Fucking hell. Like I remember fucking messaging her going, hey, life on the road's actually really fucking hard. All I'm seeing is airports, hotel room and nightclub, followed by hotel room, airport, nightclub, right? And I was like, where are you? And she was like, oh, I'm in Bali. What? I'm in Bali. One of my friends is over here. So I've just decided to come to Bali for a weekend.
Well, I guess you just disappear for a month.
Yeah.
That's it, yeah. So it's completely
I guess you're meant for each other then.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Free spirits.
100%.
All right, Alex, sign us off tonight.
All right. So, thank you so much.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
So many cool stories.
Yeah.
Have to get you back on 100%.
And next time we have you on, we'll talk more about mix tapes.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Well, what I'm thinking as well, we might get like a Brit night on maybe. And get like a few Brits on and then we'll just like ramble and just chat and just talk about everything.
Scene,
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Because that's the thing is like you own your own record label. Not record label, record store, sorry. And you're the youngest kids to own a record store.
Yeah, we were, like all the gear and no idea, literally.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So if we get some, if I get some other Brits on, they actually grew up in the record store kind of era.
Yeah.
Well, then
it'd be good to have more of a round table.
That's it.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, that's something I think you should definitely have, and I think you should try and find as well. Like, try and dig up some of the really old school DJs of Perth, like it's like Kenny L and people like that. Get them fucking round a table and have a chat. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, guys. Yeah. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
And a privilege.
And then we'll see you guys tomorrow for the legend, the myth, Soul Bliss.
Yeah.
Soul Bliss all the Ibiza stories. And
born on Christmas Day.
Really?
Yeah.
Was he actually?
Yeah.
No shit. Okay.
Yeah, it's amazing. Everyone who's born on Christmas Day tells you.
Yeah. And then don't forget as well, he's got Manifest coming up, and I think it's in a fortnight.
March 5th or 6th, I think it is.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
So coming up real soon.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll be talking all about that. Yeah.
And Base Camp Sunday night.
That's it. Yeah. And so whereabouts is Base Camp as well?
Rockingham Way. Somewhere. I should really know where it is. But it's Rockingham South. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's not that far away.
No.
I figured it'd be a little further.
Yeah.
No.
Great lineup.
Yeah, so definitely go check that out as well.
Sweet.
And check out your set. Yeah. So cheers so much, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah.
Catch you guys.
Oh, gee.
So that was so much fun.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's wicked. The fucking time's just gone. Hey,
it goes so quick.
Yeah.